Coming to you from Southern California, it's the Alexandra Show.
This show may be controversial to a lot of people, but the purpose is to allow one person's voice to be heard, their story to be told, and possibly for some of you to have the unknown answered. The word transgender may be foreign to many of you. The dictionary describes it as a person who is appearing or attempting to be a member of the opposite sex. But a more accurate description for many transgenders might be a person whose body parts do not match who they feel they are in their heart and their mind. My guest today was born as a female, but always knew he was a male. He lived throughout all of his childhood knowing, but not telling, suffering alone. But he is not alone in his condition. It's estimated that 3 million Americans feel they are born in the wrong body. So what does gender really mean? Does it stem solely from the human anatomy or for something else altogether? Joining me now is Don Morton. Can you tell me a little bit about your childhood? Before, you told me you didn't realize that you were transgender and in the wrong body until you were about 10.
Yes. Before then, I was even treated by my brothers and sisters more as a brother than as a sister. But at 10 years old, I had went to the mirror getting ready for school, and I realized that I was actually starting to bud breasts. And that was actually when I decided, okay, now I know I am different. I'm not a boy. And that's about when all the depression started for me. That's when I decided I don't want to live like this. So
until then, you were a child. You didn't realize the human anatomy. You didn't know that this is what a boy looks like and this is what a girl looks like.
Exactly. I had based all my beliefs that I was male on the fact that I felt and acted like the other little boys that I saw. And I knew I wasn't like the little girls I saw, but even then as a child, I didn't realize, okay, girl, boy, female, male. It was just the actions. It was the things that the boys did, the way they treated the girls, the way they treated each other. And I felt more in tune with them than I did with the girls or my sister. So I was more, it went beyond tomboy. It went to feeling as though I was a boy. And then at 10 realizing, no, I'm starting to look more like my sister. And that was horrible.
That must have been horrifying for you. Did you have anyone to speak to about this?
No. I was kind of like the black sheep of the family because I believed that my mother knew even then. And I was kind of like the one pushed aside. The only time I was to be seen is when I was making everybody happy, when I was the clown. So I just hid it. I just stayed to myself. I went in my room and I pretended in my dreams that I was a boy. And that was how I made it.
And kids can be really tough. How was this in school for you? I mean, did you have friends? Did you have anyone to speak to about it?
No. As children can be very cruel. I know everybody knows that. So I was, even the children would understand that I was different. They knew I was different. So I was the one that was laughed at. So instead of having people laugh at me, I would be the clown so that they could laugh with me. And that's when I started in theater, the singing, anything to get people to laugh with me, to like me. That was the only way for me to get people to like me.
Right. So. Right. And you also had other traumatic experiences. Your mother, you weren't very close to your mother or your father. Can you tell me about your relationship with them?
My father was hardly ever in the picture. I may see him once or twice a month, if that. But my mother I was never really her favorite, and I believe later my father told me that he knew what was going on and that they knew. So I believe that maybe she knew and it bothered her so much that it was better for her just to ignore this child than to, have to deal with what was going on.
Right. So your father, he wasn't around for you?
No. My father, I didn't speak to until I had my first surgery. And that was many, many years ago. And I haven't spoke to him since. So.
And during your childhood, you also had a traumatic experience. Until you were about 10, you were molested.
Yes.
Can you tell me about that?
It was family friends. My mother's I'm not even sure who she was, but she would bring her older son with her when they'd come visit, and he would molest us. And my brothers were too young to do anything about it anyway, so it kind of fell to us to be the victims. But that really was not what... During the molestation, I still felt that I was a boy. So it was even worse for me thinking that a man is doing this, or an older person is doing this to me, and I'm a boy. But they're treating my sister, so it's like I was still...
You're confused.
Yeah, I'm a boy. Why are you doing this? So...
Well, Don, that's a very traumatic childhood. And coming up next, we're going to talk about Don's attempted suicide and his high school years.